The 50 Fathoms is an icon in vintage watch circles because of its consistent and unmistakable design language. This, of course, becomes an open playground for microbrands such as the Guzman to put a twist in this iconic design and offer it at a staggeringly low price. Over the course of 3 years, I'm able to upload more than 500 videos and produce 300 episodes of this show. Now, I find it appropriate that the very next episode is something special, and I need to talk about a watch that's also special to my heart. Now, many of you know that I am a Chinese looking, Spanish named Caribbean speaking Filipino pirate. So it's a point of interest for me to actually talk about my very first Filipino brand of watch. What's amazing about this is that they're able to offer this at virtually half the price of the current Swatch Blancpain 50 Fathoms Scuba collaboration. And I know how they were able to do it. This video is brought to you by the Guzman & Co. The Guzman Watches was created by a group of young watch enthusiasts that aim to deliver some great looking watches at an affordable price. It sounds like your typical brand origin, but the product holds true to its principles, which is all the important detail we need to buy the very watches that they are producing. On my 6¼ inch wrist, this skin diver fits just right. These vintage style pieces often fit smaller wrists as somehow we all came from a generation of midgets. Or maybe we just started eating more than our suggested wrist size. Whatever the reason may be, it's hard to leave this watch solely on this beautiful beads of rice bracelet. Happily, the Guzman offers a few straps to fit this diver. This one came from the DG013 that also fits this 50 Fathoms homage. This is something I like about budget brands as they tend to make use of interchangeable parts. This makes it easy to stay within their ecosystem of products. This light leather strap does a decent job, but I do feel that it's rather thin for my taste. These also don't have the quick release spring bar, so it's not as user friendly to this spoiled watch pirate. I can see this as the area that the brand tried to save its costs. I'm fine with that, so long as it's comfortable enough to wear and I'm getting that value back in the watch itself. The DG010 registers that value in the Tropic strap that it comes in with your purchase. 50 Fathoms are often seen paired up with a tropical strap, and this one fits the part appropriately. I like how soft and supple these straps are on your skin. It also helps to fit the watch to your wrist with its generous amount of adjustment holes. These bands from the Guzman are also signed, so it's not a complete budget cut in this area. You know the antithesis of budget strap? Artem sailcloth straps. You can really feel that premium build in your fingers, and it elevates every watch it fuses with. Blancpain 50 Fathoms are very famous for using sailcloth straps. This combo with the DG010 delivers that Fathom's spirit while looking like a more flashy Blancpain. These drilled lug holes also facilitates the ease of customization that microbrand fans are clamoring about. If sailcloth straps are a bit too much for your ocean-torn, unkept sailor uniform, then an Artem NATO may fill that literal hole on your sleeve. Just be careful of those stripes as these tend to grab more attention than you'd like. But it's a durable ragtag contraption that you could throw around anytime you want. On this really stiff Amazon replacement, the DG010 still managed admirably. It's the perfect example of having shiny and colorful parts sucking all the eye's gaze rather than fixating on that cheapo strap. And then of course, that horrendous fit on my puny wrist. Not because of the watch, but because that strap just refuses to play nice with my appendage. Now let's examine the Blancpain homage of this piece. If you wanted a red 50 Fathoms, this is actually the more budget-friendly option compared to the Swatch by Blancpain collaboration. Not only is this more affordable, it's undoubtedly more durable too. But the DG010 is really a careful reimagining of the vintage models that collectors love very much. The similarities are there, but there are noticeable differences as well. The biggest ones are the narrower bezel and that very flat crystal. Anyone could argue it's not a Fathom at all, but I find there's enough there to go either way. The slender lugs that comes off that curvaceous sides is made to reflect the original. This is a skin diver staple. The other strong characteristic of the Fathom is the bezel. I don't know about you, but I associate this domed bezel as a signature of the Fathoms. Then the unprotected crown that's not too small nor too obvious to ignore. The Guzman has these reinterpreted in a way but not copying it down to the line. I can't say that it's improving on a recognizable design, but it's more like building a foundation right beside it. Kobe put it best really. It's whatever you see from me was taken from him kind of thing. As you pick up the DG010, you know really what to expect from the inside. It's either the tried and true LH35 or it's the tired and generic Microbrand go-to. However you may feel about this, it's as reliable as my uncle being nice and loose. It's got that grit and performance that sustains the upstart brands all around the world. Down the production line, it's often either having an LH35 or not having your watch at all. This frees up resources for more interesting parts such as this bezel action. I wish there's more grip there, but it's sufficient enough for my smaller fingers. As we look closer, there's more details for us to enjoy. The overall impression to me is that it's a push out of the Fathom design but just below the shove category. The beads of rice gave that little but important distinction. Its beads complements the dome bezel really well. The case effectively stays out of sight, with the crown being the only point of interest. Then it's the vein of every microbrand, the generic clasp. This is the most obvious cost saver that plagues every small company, and it's here too. This is then paired up with the near blank caseback that's saving grace is a cool no decompression scale. This, I think, is a callback to how popular citizen decorations are to Filipinos, and I'm glad that they added this touch here. Now onto the dial that's colorful both visually and culturally. The crimson dial has this sunburst effect that's slightly off the beaten path. It's a clear visual contradiction compared to that really bright bezel. It's important to point out that these colors are a reference to the national colors of the Philippines. While lesser designers would cram in that clashing color of red and blue together, the Guzman had the restraint to fight that urge. They focus instead on that unique script called baybayin. That's Tagalog for shore, something that we also have plenty here in Aruba. This is painted over a rarely seen circular brush dial, visible only to its owner. I've always shied away from California dials where one half of the dial is numeric and the other is Arabic because it just wreaks havoc with my OCD. But here it works. Maybe it's because it's so ironically foreign to me and yet familiar, a deep part of my culture that I never thought I'd wear. I'm not gonna pretend though that this hits me at a personal level just because I'm a Filipino and this is a product from my original country, because it would be a disservice to this by simply calling it a cash grab with a flag. It's really more of an inspiration that's uncompromised by patriotic bias. That's how I saw this piece. Its very soul is a vintage skin diver with modern sensibilities that's imbued with a Filipino spirit in all the right places. It's that charming combination that's even more attractive as you see the price tag. At $297, it's a staggering value considering you're getting a sapphire crystal and bezel, ISO 6425 compliance, and an extra strap to play around with. And play around it you will, under the breezy noon sun or cozy nighttime strolls. We Filipinos love to negotiate our prices, but here we can skip all that and go straight to the enjoying part. And as a fellow watch enthusiast, it's a diver that you don't have to be a Filipino to be proud of. And that is the DG010 from the Guzman. It's a very nice skin diver in the style of the 50 Fathoms with a colorful twist that is not so colorful, but at the same time it maintains that Filipino spirit, and it's a skin diver that's worth your interest. Even if you're not Filipino, guys. But if you're a Filipino, this is something that you could be very happy about. And that baybayin script is something that's very unusual to me. I mean, Even I don't know that it's called bye-bye in script, and I think it's kind of appropriate too since we have some beaches here in Aruba. I've never loved California Downs, but this one actually made sense and made it a little bit more unique for me.